Welcome, everyone. We will begin the webinar on the importance of pre- and post-scans and insurance companies covering them. I'm Melissa Jolls with RDA Impact. James Finney, PBE Marketing Manager for MEDCO, and Rich Deemer, Territory Rep for SL Marketing, are your presenters today. The presentation will take approximately 35 to 45 minutes, and we are recording it and we'll post it on our YouTube channel. If you have questions during the webinar, you can type them in the chat box at the bottom right of your screen, and we will answer them during the presentation. Now, I'm going to turn it over to James.
Okay, thank you, Melissa, and thank you, everyone, for joining this afternoon. Always glad to be able to talk to people on exciting topics such as this. I'm just going to start with some information and then turn it over to Rich to continue. And I'm going to start with just talking about why scanning and diagnostics are important in collision now. I'm sure, as you are all aware, how complex vehicles have gotten these days. So I'm not going to get too much in depth on that. We all know how many new sensors and safety systems and everything there are, and the complexity on repairing those requires new processes, new tools, new knowledge at the shop level to take care of that. But the way I see it, the biggest thing that's making it important comes from that need with those advanced vehicles, and is the manufacturers that are now requiring scans or strongly recommending them with their repair statements out there. So this is the list of manufacturers that have now issued these. We've seen a very large growth in the number of manufacturers just in the last year, especially in the last 2 years. I know when I really started digging into this topic just a couple years ago, it was really, 3 or 4 big manufacturers that put out statements, and now we have 11 of them out there that really cover almost the entire market in the U.S. So any shop out there is going to be getting these cars every single day that are requiring these. And even the ones that are still don't have a statement out there, they still have these systems that, to ensure proper repair, have to get the diagnostic scan done and potentially some other recalibration and other work that can only be done with diagnostic tools and that kind of technology. So what adds to the importance of these statements is a couple years ago, I'm sure most of you are at least somewhat aware of this case. It was all over the industry news, and if you get any of the magazines like Body Shop Business, they wrote on this a lot, was the John Eagle lawsuit. So just a quick recap, there was a vehicle that was repaired at this John Eagle Collision Center. The manufacturer said that the roof needed to be welded on. Insurance would only pay for it to be put on with adhesive. The collision center wanted to be paid, which makes sense. So they did it on with adhesive. A couple years after the repair, the vehicle was in a wreck. Luckily, nobody died, but the roof failed and caused some pretty serious injuries. So the insurance company, the collision center, they were both sued over the issue, and the courts ruled that the collision center was primarily responsible for it. So I believe they got hit with 75% of the damages, which came out to $31.5 million judgment against the collision center because they did not follow the OEM procedure on the repair. So the court said, we don't care if insurance isn't paying for it. It's on the collision center to make sure that the repair is done according to the correct specifications. And if the collision center isn't going to do that, we're going to hit their wallet to make them do it. So I pulled this quote out of the information on it. I think this is something that every body shop should keep in mind and listen to. This is from the attorney that represented the collision center. And he said, every auto body shop across the nation should post this verdict beside the sign-in sheet for auto insurance adjusters at their business. Auto insurance carriers do not know anything about vehicle safety, and their payday of putting profits over the safety of people is over. The jury has spoken. If you are going to be a patsy of the auto insurance industry, you will pay the price. So it's very important. It gives some ammo to a collision center to really push back at the insurance companies when they need to, because the collision center is the one that holds that liability. They need to be the ones that make the repair decision and get paid for it. So this wasn't a diagnostic issue directly, but it really changes a lot in the power structure between collision centers, customers, insurance companies, everything, and really sets the collision center up that they're responsible for doing it correctly, and gives them the ability to really push the insurance companies because of that liability that they are under. So now that I've touched on that, I'm going to turn it over to Rich, and we're going to talk a bit about what the shops are doing now from our experience and what they're seeing in dealing with insurance companies as it is now. So the floor is yours, Rich.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to everybody about this. Hopefully people are starting to get into the mode of doing pre and post scans in the shop. If you're not, it's something to seriously think about. All right. A lot of people are a little skeptical, maybe, doing scans because they don't really fully understand scan tools. But to do a pre and post scan is a very simple process. All right. And here's the reason why you want to get into it. As James had come out, they have more sophisticated systems on the vehicle. The dashboard is not big enough to have all the warning lights for every system on a vehicle. See, I drive a 2006 Chevy vehicle, and my vehicle only has maybe 8 to 10 controllers on it. It may take about 2 to 3 minutes to scan. But if you get a car like a Cadillac Escalade, which may have 50 to 60 controllers on it, it's going to take about 10 minutes to fully scan that vehicle. And not all those systems are always going to come up on the dashboard. All right, so that's why on here it says, according to the shops we asked, recommend scanning all cars regardless of getting paid. If you want to do a pre and post scan, most insurance companies are now asking body shops if they have the ability to do pre and post scans, because they want to make sure, along with the OE position statements, that that vehicle gets back to pre-collision condition. All right, again, average time to scan 2 to 10 minutes, depending on the vehicle. All right, now, the biggest reason why you want to do scanning is liability. Liability, you want to know what's going on in that vehicle. If you get a vehicle into that shop, you cannot tell if that vehicle has codes or how many codes until you do a scan. Cycle times. What if you have a guy coming in and actually doing the scans for you? What if he's backed up? Or if you do the remote services. Remote services are okay, but they're not on site. So they can't see the vehicle. They can only tell you what to fix for a code, but that doesn't mean it's going to fix the code. Okay, so your cycle times are going to be affected as well. All right, and key to getting paid by insurance companies is having a wireless print or have email capabilities. You need a printed copy or a digital copy. Okay, James, if we can switch to the next screen. All right, working with the insurance companies. Now, there's no set amount, but shops are being paid 70 to 99% of scans. Average payment per scan, $75 to $150. Now, if you take into account how many vehicles you do in your shop per week, say roughly you get $100 per scan, so $100 per prepaid or pre-scan, and $100 for a post-scan. So $200 per vehicle times how many vehicles you do a week. Multiply that number by how many cars you do a month. You can factor out how quickly you'll pay off that scan tool. And after that, everything is pure profit. Okay, James, next screen, please. So working with the insurance companies, most insurance companies are no longer fighting payment. When I go into body shops, I even hear some of the insurance companies asking, like I said, asking if they have a scan tool that will do pre and post scans. Because they too also want to make sure that car goes back to pre-collision condition. All right, it's getting easier over the last 12 months because liabilities are higher, especially once rates are negotiated. Okay, James, next screen. That printout copy, that is pretty much what the launch scan tool printout looks like. The report. Documentation, documentation, documentation. And so if you have a scan tool that does not have any way to document this, to print it out or send it out in email, insurance companies will not pay. So yourself, pre and post scan. Because if that customer picks up the vehicle after repairs have been made, and there's a code in that vehicle, and say 2 days, 3 days later after they pick up the car, customer comes back, oh, that light's on. That's part of the accident. You have documentation saying, well, when it left here, it had no codes. You have a way to protect yourself. Let's be honest. There's several things you need to do before you do a pre and post scan. Okay, make sure, first of all, that just to give you a little background on this. The car comes into your shop, your body shop. You really don't know how the maintenance of that vehicle was prior to the vehicle showing up to your shop. The first thing you really want to do, if the car is at least 4 or 5 years old, you want to check that battery voltage. At the battery, you need to have 12.7 volts at the battery. If you do not, if it's got about 10.5 volts, you're not going to get an accurate scan. It takes a minimum of 11 volts to power up all the modules. There's been several cars I've done scans on. Scan tool will come back, says unable to connect to computer. Go start the car, and all you hear the starter clicking. This is also another way you can also upsell a battery. If you do a pre-scan and the battery's in good shape, you do a pre-scan and it comes up with a history code, that's a pre-existing condition prior to the accident. That's what the insurance companies want to know. The insurance company does not or will not cover that. That is your opportunity to actually upsell to the customer and take care of it and say, hey, listen, that's an airbag sensor or it's an ABS sensor. Insurance company's not going to cover it because you were hit in the back. I'm going to have the car apart. I can take care of that for you. So whatever you do, make sure you keep an electronic version of it. You want to keep a printed copy of it, an electronic version, both of them, that's fine. Whatever way is easier for you. Some shops are taking the pre and post scan report, going by either the customer last name, -pre, or -post. Or do you have a repair order number, -pre, -post. Whatever way works for you, keep an electronic version to keep it safe and keep it with you in case you need it later down the road. You can also tie it in with estimating software. Some people put CCC1 on there or Mitchell or whatever the program you have, you can put it on the tool. Whatever you do, I can't say this enough, but whatever you do, be sure you get paid for this. This is your money. They will pay you. I've got shops in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, that they get paid for every scan they do. They have documentation. They have the OE position statements. They present that all to the insurance adjuster. They get paid. They will fight for it. All right. Again, everyone needs to be doing this. Cars are not getting less complicated. They're getting more and more complicated. The longer you wait, the worse it'll be, and you'll be even that far behind. Okay, James, can we go to the next page? All right, scan tool considerations. You really want to have a scan tool, a quality scan tool, with a couple, make sure you have coverage and capabilities. The most important thing is that you want to make sure that the scan tool that you have has late model. Now, when I say that is, body shops are not just working on older cars. You're working on brand new cars too. So what if you get a 2019 Chevy Traverse? Your scan tool only goes to 2017. You need the most up-to-date software and coverage in that scan tool to do the job and to get paid. There are some scan tools out there that they are at least a year or two behind. So when you do a pre or post scan, you're coming up with, instead of a 2019 vehicle, you're coming up with a 2016 or 2017. That may be a problem for some insurance companies. You're not showing the real year of that vehicle. All right, you want to be able to connect with vehicles you work on and regular updates for newer models. You want advanced diagnostic abilities for more in-depth repairs, and you want to have ADAS capabilities. Again, connects to systems, ability to print, email, and save reports for documentation and training. Training for your techs and post-sale support. We are the launch reps. If there's a problem, call us. We're here. If you need help with something, call us. Gotta let us know. We can help you. Okay, James, please. Okay, the current scan tool promos right now. You have the top one, the best one is the Pad 2. The other one below is the Launch Torque. Both of these tools have the same coverage. There's not one thing different between coverage. The only thing is that the Pad 2, different tablet, as you can see on the screen there. The Pad 2 is a different tablet than the Torque. The Pad 2 is what they call military IP65 military tough. It is water resistant, dust proof, especially for the body shops. When you're sanding, you have a lot of snow flying around in the shop. So it is dust proof, and it's shock proof. So if you drop it, it's not going to break. Both of them have 2 years of updates. They both come standard with 1 year, but now they're coming up with a 2 year. And also with the Pad 2, you get a free docking station. Okay, if you want to go to the next page. Okay, on the ADAS, what do you need? Complete diagnostic tool, various calibration fixtures and targets, information sources for procedures, and an adequate workspace in Bay Area. There are requirements to do all these. So the ADAS system, as we get more information on it, you will be able to get that, and those tools will be able to do ADAS. Recalibrations, relearns, anything like that. Okay, James, next page.
That's the end of our presentation.
Okay.
Just wanted to end with, ADAS is kind of the next big thing coming in the diagnostic world. It's the recalibration for a lot of the radar and cameras and other systems that can automate a lot of the driving there, or automatic braking, adaptive cruise control, that fun stuff. So if it's not something that you're looking at getting into immediately, that's still understandable. That's going to be a while before that reaches full adoption, but it's a good thing to start considering with your plans with scanning, and you know, if you're kind of starting with a system that'll work with it down the road. So
I do have, somebody did write a comment here. It says, I came across a car today, and it was a 2019 C300, but the scanner couldn't recognize the vehicle. And he did have the update for the Mercedes vehicles up to 2019.
What scan tool was it?
Can you type in what scan tool it was? It was the launch.
It was a C300.
Let's see, he's going to check the scan tool. That's all, yeah. He's checking. But is there other cases where they're maybe they're not quite as up to date, or they miss a couple of vehicles?
Well,
I mean,
anything on the launch tools, if there's a problem doing something, you can actually send some diagnostic feedback right to launch.
mm-hmm.
Might be something that they're still working on, especially if it's a brand new car.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, you can send an email. You can link the VIN number from that vehicle to the email. It goes right to launch. They'll go right to their software engineers. Software engineers give it about a day or so, and they'll come back to you and tell you whether it's in there and what topic to look underneath, or it'll come back and say, hey, you know what, it's not in there yet, but it'll be on, say, Friday's update or whenever the update.
He said it's an X-431 pad 2.
The pad 2, okay. So I would send, in that case, I would send the feedback, the diagnostic feedback right to launch, and they can get back to them on that.
Okay.
Hey, Rich.
Another.
Real quick, it's Chris. Two things on that also. One, make sure those X431s update weekly. So make sure the customer's obviously got the most current update, that he has a current subscription for the tool, and he's got the most current updates in the tool. The second thing I would say too is sometimes could be a short problem, could be anything, but it may not recognize the VIN, but have him try to go in manually instead of auto search the vehicle and see if he can find that model in manual search instead of the vehicle VIN search.
Okay. We have another question. When will the ADAS be ready?
Well, the ADAS software is pretty much still coming out. And as Chris said, it's being updated on a daily basis. So the only thing they're going to need is the targeting system, the targets. So that's actually still coming out, and I think should be out in a couple of weeks, I believe.
yeah, I'm not sure if there's I don't believe there's a hard date on it yet, but it will be soon.
Beta testing is starting February 1st on the targets. If anybody has a launch and it's up to date, they will notice that probably about 3 weeks ago, in their updates, the ADAS software was actually embedded into the tool. So when they go into the tools now, when they go after they identify the vehicle and they're on the screen that has the health report for the system scans, they will see the ADAS button there for the ADAS software. It's just, there's no targeting system yet. We're still in beta test with it. I would say probably second quarter is a valid time frame for the systems to actually be out to the public.
Okay. Just back to the original question about the vehicle that he could not find it wouldn't recognize, the scale tool wouldn't recognize it. He said that he ends up looking up the vehicle manually. Is that okay? and we'll check for updates. Does that make sense?
If he looks under the VIN number?
Not sure. He says he just typed in, I will end up looking up the vehicle manually. Is that okay?
Yeah, you can look up, if you go below, further down, and just click on Mercedes-Benz. You can click on that and try and go in that way.
Okay.
Continue to check either every day or every other day for updates. That tool updates on almost a daily basis.
Okay. He said that I guess when he scans the vehicle, it gives him the option to look it up manually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the person who asked about when the 8S is coming out, she said that they've been telling them for a while that it will be available in 6 months. That it won't be available
in 6 months.
I'm not sure. It just says they've been telling us it won't be available for 6 months. So I'm not sure.
Oh no, it's not going to take that long. It'll be out in probably a couple of weeks now.
Okay.
I mean, I heard 6 months back last summer, and we're pretty much at that point right now. I mean, to be honest with you, I was actually accessing 2019 vehicles last summer, where some of the competitors' tools are still behind. They don't even have 2019s in there yet.
Does anybody else have any questions? Well, what we'll do is I will follow up with everybody who is on the webinar, and I'll send you the contact information. So if they do have questions, they can reach out to you by email. And reach out to your distributors if you're interested in getting the launch tool, scan tool. Your distributors have access to that. So if you have any questions, you can ask them, or you can ask James or Rich, who are on the phone, who are on the webinar today. So I think I'm not getting any more questions. Wait, here's one. Let's see. It says, when will we know when it is available? Okay, so the ADAS. When will they know? Like, will they get? Who will contact them, or how can we let them know when it actually is out?
Oh, you'll be seeing advertisements for it all around.
Okay.
It'll be nationally known.
Okay, James, I was wondering, can you let us know, and I could let my distributors know? Is there somebody?
Absolutely.
So
we'll make sure that.
Okay. Well, then when you so guys, everybody on the call, when we know, we'll let all the distributors know, and they can reach out to you folks, and I'll let them know on this webinar who is interested, and let them know that you want to know as soon as it's available. So we can do that for you. Okay. Well, I think we don't have any more questions. That concludes the webinar. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you, James, Rich, and Chris, and we'll be in touch with future training opportunities and webinars. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.